Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ARM Software Developer Breakdown. And today we're going to be meeting with Pete Goldberg from GitLab. So without further ado, let's meet Pete. All right, Pete, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for joining us. As we usually like to do here, I'd like to start off with a personal introduction from yourself.
Sure, thanks, Robert. I'm super excited to be here today. Again, I'm Pete Goldberg. I manage partnerships at GitLab. Prior to that, I had been managing partnerships and helping customers build their businesses with AWS for about 8 years. And now I'm at GitLab helping them build their business with AWS and other technology partners like ARM.
All right, Pete, thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. And now let's dive right into GitLab. So if you could just take a quick moment to tell us a little bit about what GitLab is.
Yeah, no problem, Robert. GitLab is a complete DevOps platform. And what we mean by that is we take all of the components of the tool chain for the software development lifecycle, and we put them into a single tool. From issue tracking to source code management to your CI testing to pulling security left into that application deployment process to actually test before we commit code and produce it. And then doing actually your deployment and monitoring of the application. And we do this again in a single tool, which leads to all of your employees being able to work together and collaborate in a single interface where everything's in the same context. And we think, and what we've seen customers do is really accelerate their development because they have all this information in a single data store in a single tool.
Pete, thanks for explaining GitLab to us. And I know something our developers are going to be very interested in hearing now is how does GitLab, if anything, in any way, feature ARM in some of this cool stuff, these cool developments that GitLab has been up to, especially around CI/CD and the GitLab runners?
So, Robert, we were really excited to launch the native ARM runners in the not too distant past. And the idea behind that is that we know that there is a lot of different scenarios that the ARM architecture is available, and one of the challenges that we've constantly heard is, I need to be able to test environments, but maybe I don't have the actual physical hardware and I want to test on a Raspberry Pi. And now with AWS providing its second generation of ARM architecture in the Graviton 2 instances, we wanted to have a native runner so that as a developer, you could run your builds and your tests in one environment and know and feel comfortable that you would be okay when you deployed them to those other types of devices with the similar architecture.
Yeah, so I think that's really important, for developers, especially when developing on ARM, the whole single architecture, developing, building, and then migrating from one device to another. So this is really cool to hear the stuff that GitLab is up to. Taking into account GitLab, your CI/CD implementation of GitLab runners, what might developers expect, or what are some of the exciting aspects that developers can expect in using these tools?
Well, I think one of the cases that we're going to see there, Robert, is, especially with Amazon launching the AWS Graviton 2 instance types, which have this, boost in performance at a lower cost, is that we're going to see developers now start looking at how do I build my applications to deploy my general purpose applications to deploy onto ARM versus just thinking about ARM for things like IoT or on the edge or in those more unique form factors. And because they're going to get this price performance boost, I see a lot of developers starting to say, can I take my existing applications and make sure and take them through a same check that I would normally, but make sure that they'll run correctly on ARM. And I also see them looking at new, more compute-intensive types of applications, maybe around AI, for example, where they can get a lot more value out of using ARM architecture for the processing of that.
Thank you very much, Pete, for sharing all of that information. I think our developers are going to be very happy to learn everything that you've told us so far. Now, moving forward, I think this is the last bit of this segment. Can you share some resources? Because I know people are going to be watching this video and they're going to want to know, where do we go next? what can we go explore further on with GitLab and the cool stuff that you are doing there?
Definitely, we're excited to put those resources up. And if you haven't really spent much time with GitLab, you'll find that we're actually very public about pretty much every bit of information in our company. If you look below, there's a bit.ly link that'll take you to a blog announcement that really talks about when we launched the ARM runners not too long ago, as I mentioned earlier. And as part of that, there's a number of resources about getting started, and some other information. If you just go to aboutgitlab.com, we do have a free trial if you want to use our hosted solution. And of course, our roots are truly open source. Our community is huge, and a lot of the work that we do is from the community, so we like to give back. So there is also our open source version of the product if you want to run it in your own environment and run it natively and protect it. And all of those are available on gitlab.com. And depth of documentation and actually the issues that we build to build features such as the ARM actually had a lot of community involvement, and we would eagerly love for you to explore those, and if you felt the need to join us and contribute.
Great, Pete. So I added the about.gitlab.com below. It's right over here. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate having you on here with us. And look forward to, in later videos, hopefully sharing some awesome and fun technical walkthroughs where we can, get these GitLab runners up and going and possibly build some stuff. What do you say?
That sounds great. We'd love to show people how to do more with ARM, quicker and faster. So
awesome, great. So everyone, feel free to go check out about.gitlab.com. Rewind a little bit. You'll see the bit.ly link if you want to go read that blog from GitLab. And we look forward to seeing you in the next ARM developer, software developer breakdown.
Thanks for having us, Robert.
Thank you.